Good evening. Welcome to an understanding of diversity by me, Dylan McCabe. Who am I, you might ask? We'll dive into that. Okay, our contents. Now, what's this? Whoa, that was cool. I've never seen that before. Is that my name? Huh. Well, anyway, I'm sure whoever did that was really talented, probably super nice. But back to me. We are going to begin with my cultural autobiography, which will be followed by my research project about subcultures that intersect in my professional future and what my big takeaway has been through all the resources that I've utilized in my pursuit. So, me. Hello again. My name is Dylan. I've tried to black out my family, but that is me in the corner there. That's the last weekend of Thanksgiving. It was my son's first Thanksgiving. That's him in the front. Maybe you can see, being held by my wife. But cultural makeup, what makes up your culture? So, in a census, I'd be looked at as like a millennial, straight white male, married with one child. But I really have always viewed myself as more than just one classification. I believe in an individual culture as well as the culture of your ethnical background. So, in my family, culture has always really been about family. I come from a big family on both sides of my family, and this photo, which shows only my siblings, parents, nieces, and nephews, and my wife and child, but what other than just my family makes me what I am? So when I was looking at the importance of cultural subgroups for my cultural autobiography, the biggest influencer was my ethnicity. It was definitely the most significant variable. I am a proud Irishman. I'm an Irish American. I have very close ties to Ireland still. I mean, this last summer, my cousin Emma stayed with us for a month. She is originally from Ireland. She still lives there now. So she just came to spend the summer in America. She came and spent it with me and my family. But yeah, I grew up with Irish grandparents. So I grew up with grandparents whose accents sounded different than other grandparents around us. I grew up going to Irish festivals and learning dances and songs that I still love to this day. My wife, unfortunately, does not love them as much. But when I had to really pick a certain number of things that I felt were representative of me, these are some of the things that popped up. So this first thing, all of these are clickable links that you can view for yourself. This first one is a speech written by a man named James Connolly, who was famous in Irish history. I encourage you to look it up yourself. This is a song by the band Dropkick Murphys, which is an American Celtic band with a lot of influence. And if you'll indulge me for 1 second, this is the portion that I would like you to see, that I would like to share with everybody in this group.
God preserve Ireland if ever your kind take control.
Well, you better start getting used to the idea. I received orders to execute the spies.
What Chris as well?
He's a traitor. It's a war.
I've crossed the line now, Sinead.
I want to thank you for taking that little detour with me. So that movie is, it was a huge influence on me. Obviously, some of you might recognize Cillian Murphy. He is an Academy Award winner now for Oppenheimer. This was much earlier in his career, but this is a story of brothers at a crucial time for Irish independence from colonial British rule. It's an excellent film. I would highly recommend it to anybody who's interested in history or anybody who really just likes good movies. I mean, Cillian Murphy, an absolutely amazing performance in this film. Highly encourage it. So going forward, that was me, but now how are we going to tackle other cultural subgroups? So in my research proposal, I looked at my future career, which hopefully will be a middle school history teacher. You might have seen from my obsession with that film about Irish history that I am a big fan of history, all kinds of history, not just Irish history. I embrace all history. And middle school, you may have also seen in the previous slide that I have a disability. I have ADHD, and my educational career has been tumultuous. And I think middle school is really the place where I really started to struggle with my education. So that is where I would like to apply my professional work to help out kids like me who would really be on the margins. So I have tried to be, more self-aware about people whose experiences are different than mine. But when I was looking at how that applied to my future career, I have tried to be forthcoming and do work on myself and to learn about other cultures. There's one major cultural subgroup that I have not really been proactive in my pursuit of knowledge about, and I would say that is Asians. I've really been focused on outside perspectives of a black or Hispanic narrator, but to be honest, I rarely find myself putting myself in the shoes of an Asian perspective. It's just not something that ever comes up to the forefront of my mind. So that was really the largest focus area that I wanted to go after. And when it came to intersectionality, the other community that I really don't have a lot of personal connection with is the LGBTQ plus community. So initially, when this was my focus area, I began to look at the things that I already knew in the world. So I thought of a famous Asian movie that my wife and I had watched together, Crazy Rich Asians, which was based on a book with the same title, Crazy Rich Asians, written by the author, who's to your right, Kevin Kwan. And I remember that there was a gay character in that movie who was portrayed by this actor, Nico Santos, over to the left. I will be honest, my pursuit of knowledge was a little superficial at first, kind of surface area, but as I expanded my research, I found an extensive network of resources and support. There were organizations that were already doing the hard work and making themselves available. So, number one, I want to look at the National Queer Asian Pacific Islander Alliance and the Human Rights Campaign. Both of those organizations really are doing great work every day. So I would highly encourage anybody to dive further into those resources. Specifically, those two organizations came together to put out this report about coming out as Asian. What's special about this article is the tools that it offers for balancing your sexuality with religious beliefs, your family relationships, school relationships, work relationships. It also includes a guide for allyship. It's a great resource. I've provided a link here. I highly encourage anybody to check that out. The second resource that I wanted to jump into was this interview between Nico Santos and Larry King. Despite my attempt to skim the superficial surface to broaden my perspective, learn about this, I found this interview between Nico Santos and Larry King surprisingly informative. The benefit of entertainment-style interviews is that you are able to bypass small talk and pry with personal questions which are not applicable in day-to-day interactions. What can be applied in day-to-day interactions is a symbol of representation for any student who may see themselves in somebody like Nico. And in this interview in particular, he does a great job of getting a lot of information to us in a very short and abridged fashion. And lastly, the National Queer Asian Pacific Islander Alliance. This is their website. It's an excellent representation of what a powerhouse advocacy organization looks like. I mean, I spoke about it when they work together with the Human Rights Campaign, which is another great independent resource that people can look into. But particularly this group, the hard work that they're doing, the way that they make themselves available to everybody. They can direct resources for local support in your area, anywhere in the U.S. it's really something that I've provided a link down here, and anybody, this, when I think about it going forward, this is a tool in my utility belt for anybody who may feel like I cannot help them with a certain issue. This is something that I can absolutely guide somebody towards in an effort to help them. Now, through all this research, what did I discover? The biggest thing that stood out to me was how hopeless and voiceless so many people feel. This is why I think we need to provide more than just our words. I was fortunate that my focus area had so many tools at their disposal. In particular, my biggest takeaway is the importance of representation. Some things are irreplaceable. Regardless of how smart I may feel about something, children and young people will always have an innate connection with someone that they feel reflects them. For some people, that might mean their race, or for some people, they might see themselves reflected in the gender of another person. And I may not be able to be those things for that person, but I can make sure that those voices are heard and seen in positions of power in my classroom. I had a lot of fun learning this semester about my focus area, and I enjoyed all the talks that we've had as a class. I encourage you to check out all of these resources for yourself. At the bottom, I've taken to putting a little bit of an asterisk on this bottom resource, as I believe that that would be the most substantial resource for anybody to use. Thank you so much for your time.